Hello, and welcome to Coffee with Coach. Today I want to share with you 9 questions that will energize your ministry. Interested? Stick around. Welcome to Coffee with Coach. Today, actually, my coffee mug isn't a coffee mug. It's an old mug from when I worked at A&W Root Beer. Man, I loved the root beer. I hated the job. It didn't pay well. In fact, it paid less than I made when I was a gardener at the age of 15. But it was a college job. I had it for a couple months. Everybody that worked there was kind of grumpy. The boss was grumpy. It was not a happy place to work. Every day, same stuff, never improved. I was happy when I moved on. Ever been in a job like that? Ever wish your job was exciting? Let's talk about that. Today, I want to share with you one of the most important lessons I learned in ministry. It took me years to learn this, and it dynamically changed the way I did everything. It built energy, cooperation, set directions, made the work much easier, and resulted in significant church growth. Stick around, and I'll share with you 9 questions that will energize your ministry. I have 3 goals for these videos: to help you become a better pastor and leader, to save you time and money, to help educate, energize, and motivate you to energize and motivate your church. Did you ever go to work and feel like you are not making any difference? You're not being paid what you're worth? No one really cares. You start to think nothing will ever change. Just thinking that sucks the energy right out of you. How can you change that? How can you bring some energy and excitement to your ministry? You can start by asking 9 critical questions. But first, commercial. If you find this video helpful and want to keep up as I produce more, please consider subscribing. Just click that little red button down there. And if you have questions or comments, or perhaps a subject that you would like me to cover, just send me a comment or an email. I promise to respond to every one. One of the problems with ministry is it's driven by the calendar. Every year, we're going to have Easter, we're going to have Christmas, we're going to have Mother's Day, we're going to have July 4th, we're going to have picnics in the summertime, we're going to have fall harvest festivals, and often we do exactly the same thing every year. Well, it's what we've always done. Have you heard that? Somebody in your church say that to you? Well, we have to do that. We've always done that. But if you find yourself having events year after year after year, and the attendance at those events is going down, maybe it's time to think about doing something different. After all, do you like watching summer reruns of all those programs you watched before? Is that exciting? No. Reruns are not exciting. To make them exciting, you have to do something new. How do you break through? We've always done it that way. Well, you could begin by asking 9 important, critical questions. Every time there's an event, whether it's an annual event, Lent and Easter, whether it's a weekly event, Sunday morning worship, every time you have an event, sit down and quickly ask yourself, or your leadership team, or your staff team, 9 questions. These are important, and we ask them in 3s. So the first question is about evaluation. So you're going to evaluate every event. The first question you're going to ask is, did it meet our expectations? Now that begs a certain question. Did you have expectations? Sometimes we don't actually have expectations for our events. We just have them because we've always had them. Well, think about that. What do you really expect to happen? When I go into a near church, very often they don't have a Ash Wednesday service, or they have one entirely different than I like to have it. And so I plan an Ash Wednesday service, 7 o'clock, Wednesday evening. And I tell everybody it's going to be small because no one has a history of coming to that. So the first year, I only expect 20 to 30 people. If I get 20 to 30 people, that met my expectations. But the next year, I might expect 30 to 40. The next year, I might expect 50. Am I meeting my expectations? Is the quality of the event meeting my expectations? What's going on? Is it meeting my expectations? Do I have expectations? We'll get back to that at number 7. Second question, what went well? Ask this one first. You know what the next one is. There's always things that went well. Sit down, pat yourself on the back. Say, oh gosh, that was really super. The choir was fantastic. The band was excellent. You know, all the ushers managed to get everything in and out all the time. Boy, our greeters were fantastic. They were out there doing their job. What went well? Celebrate what went well. Take a note of it. Make a list. These things went well. We'll get back to those again too. And third, what could have gone better? In every event, there's something that went well but could have gone better, but there might be things that just really didn't go well at all. And we really need to look at those and think, oh gosh, that could be better. I remember one time we had a concert at our church, and it was the first time we tried to take credit cards. We had iPads, we had credit card readers. What a time for the internet to go down. That didn't go well. Backed up the lines, everybody was grumpy. So next time we're going to make sure the internet doesn't go down, and we're going to make sure our card readers are working. So ask yourself the questions. What could have gone better? The second group of questions are about improving for the next time. And the first question you may not think to ask, but it's important. How do we improve on what went well? Think about that. How do we improve on what went well? Always you're trying to improve. At every aspect you're trying to improve. And you might say, well, we did a really super job at this, but you know what would be even better? This would be so exciting. We could do this. Oh, right in the middle of that thing, I was thinking, oh gosh, we should do this instead. There's always a chance to try to do something that went well, just a little bit better. If it went really, really well and was a bright spot, how do we make it sparkle as a bright spot? How do we make fireworks go off instead of just, well, it was a bright spot? Take the things that went well and improvement. This is the easiest thing to do. Why? You know how to do it. You did it well. You can improve upon it. It's easy to improve upon something you know how to do. The second question, what must be improved that went badly? Oh, there's always those things that really, really went badly, and we look at it and think, oh my goodness, we have to improve that. How do we do that? That's harder. Why? Because you failed at it. But it's also easy to improve something you failed at because you can go out and find solutions. It forces you to go out and find solutions. But if you don't ask the question, you might just end up doing the bad things again next year. Ask the question, do the evaluation, and then what must be improved that went badly? Answer that one. And then what should we not do next time? And this might be the whole event. It might be half of the event. It might be something that we've always done, but it just isn't working anymore. Look at the event and say, what needs to come out of it? Is there something that we just need to take out? What do we not do next time? The last 3 questions are about planning. Now, if you've been following my stuff, you know how I feel about planning. I really believe in planning a 12-month calendar. And this will help you plan that 12-month calendar if you ask these 9 questions, because when you get down to 7, 8, and 9, it's all about the calendar. Knowing what our evaluations are and knowing what things we think need to be improved, now we can make plans for next year. So question number 7 is, what are our expectations for this event? Oh, wait a minute. That goes back to number one. Remember, did we meet our expectations? Well, if you didn't have expectations, now's the time to have some. And if you had some, now's the time to revise them. What are your expectations for this event? What do you really want to have happen? Hopefully, it's more than just numbers. Hopefully, you have some hope and some plan and some expectation for this event that it will do something to enhance, improve, move forward your congregation, move forward in people's faith, move forward in people's hope. This is something that we want to see happening. So what are our expectations? Our expectations need to be clear, because when we get back to evaluating number one, we have to say, did we meet our expectations? If time after time after time we don't meet our expectations, it might be time to design a different event and scrap this one altogether. It's not doing it. So, what are our expectations for this event? Number 8, when and where will this event happen next year? Well, that assumes it's a yearly thing. You could just as easily say next time. If it's something that happens monthly or something that happens weekly, next time. But if it's Easter and Lent or Advent and Christmas, Thanksgiving, finance campaign, things that happen annually, then look at them and say, when and where will this event happen next year? So how do we plan for those events? How do we plan to make sure that we get everything done well in advance? So it's not just a matter of planning the event, though you want to get that event on the calendar. It's also a matter of saying, when do we need to begin working on this event? What's the date that we want to set on our calendar that we start planning for this, we start pulling the pieces together, we start doing things? Think about the finance campaign. You could say, well, the finance campaign is going to be from October 15th to November 15th. Great. But you'd better start planning the finance campaign in July, because you need to make sure you have all your printed material. You need to make sure you have all your mailing labels. You need to make sure that everybody's in place to do all that work, to do all that assembly, to get the stuff out. So plan for that. Put those dates on the calendar way early, like a year ahead of time. And then when you get done, you look and think, oh, look, we've started a 12-month calendar. And you work out. And every time you have an event, you do the evaluation and you put the next year's event on the calendar. When and where will this event happen next year? And lastly, who will be in charge? Very often, when we don't plan, it always comes back to, well, the pastor's in charge. And the pastor has to pull a team together. The pastor has to do it. And very often the pastors just think, well, I have to do it myself. No one else will do this. That's not good. You have to bring a team together. You have to have people in charge. With every event, there needs to be a lay person whose name is next to it. The pastor ultimately is in charge of everything. But if he doesn't have a lay person to come alongside him, he or she is overworking. And then they're going to be frustrated, just like they're working at A&W. Who will be in charge? Once you put it on the calendar, Joe Dokes, Christmas Eve. Sally Dokes, Christmas morning. Fred Smith, the week after Christmas. Get those names down. Know who's in charge. Remind those people 3 months ahead of time. Oh, this is coming up. By the way, have you started planning for it? What does this accomplish? When you ask these questions, you're improving the next year's event. You're not doing reruns. You're doing something new. You've changed something. You've made it more exciting. You've removed the things that didn't work. You've improved the things that really worked well and made them even better. And you're planning a long-range strategy to improve everything. And you have expectations for everything. You know the direction you're going. You can see where you're going. Expectations are clearly understood, not just by the pastor, but by the leadership team, by the staff, and ultimately by the congregation. People will begin to understand you have expectations for the direction you're going. You have expectations for this congregation. Friends, if you're happy doing the same thing as last year, don't bother with this. Ignore these 9 questions. But understand, that means that you're happy providing reruns to your congregation. And you're happy meeting no one's expectations. Better, ask the questions, raise the expectations, improve the quality of your events, and you will find the energy level and the expectation level within the congregation comes up. And when that comes up, they are happy to invite friends to their services. They are happy to invite friends to their events because these are exciting events that improve every year, and people want to come back every year and see what will be changed this year to make it so exciting we have to come back even next year. Ask the 9 questions and add the energy, excitement, and expectations to your church. You can do it. You can. So, there you go. 9 critical questions to drive your church forward, to add energy and excitement and expectations to build a stronger ministry. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please consider checking the subscription link over there or the like button. Let me know. Send me a message, a comment, carrier pigeon, however you want to communicate. I'd love to hear from you. If you've got ideas for future videos, let me know that too. I'll accommodate most of those. I will respond to every message you send me. And finally, for those of you who have not watched the video about planning for the 12-month calendar, I'll leave that link up here so you can find it. So have a great day. Ask those 9 questions. Build a better ministry. I know you can do it. See you next time on Root Beer with Coach.